Welcome to another episode of What is Hashimoto's with Dr. Martin Rutherford. To find out more on any of our topics, or for information on scheduling a consultation with Dr. Rutherford, please visit us at whatishashimotos.com. And now, here's Dr. Rutherford.
Hey, Dr. Rutherford here, and today we're going to talk about one of the most common conversations that I have with my Hashimoto's patients, and that is the wonderment of the patient going, and it's crazy. You know, I have a good day or two, and then I go out and I do this, and I go out and then I clean the house, and then I go out shopping, and then I do my exercise at the gym, and then boom, I hit the wall, and I just crash. And sometimes one of the patients I was talking to yesterday says, sometimes I crash for a couple hours, sometimes I crash for a couple of days, sometimes I crash for 3 weeks. So what we call that is a person's metabolic capacity is low, meaning that when your physiology is working normally, whatever that is today, but normally is your blood sugar is good, you're getting good oxygen, there's no inflammation going on, your nutrients are good, you're absorbing your foods, so you're getting good nutrients, and you're feeling good, and you're sleeping good, and you're getting a little exercise and all that type of stuff. You have better substrates going to your cells. So you have better, you have minerals, you have vitamins, you have all that stuff getting to your cells, basically, okay? And your cells need them because in your cells, there's these little organelles, little factories called mitochondria, and these guys make energy. And they need a lot of that stuff to make energy. They need oxygen, they need sugar, they need all these different things. They need certain, like B vitamins, and they need a lot of different things. Coenzymes, things of that nature. And then they make energy. When you crash, it's because that mitochondria is just like, instead of that much substrate, it's got that much, okay? And this is very common with Hashimoto's because there are a lot of things that occur to dampen that. Like, for example, inflammation alone will neutralize your cells. It'll damage the cell walls of all of your cells. And we now also know that it will actually create an inflammatory response on the wall of the mitochondria. Here's your cell. Here's this tiny little mitochondria. In fact, you have lots of them in there. And then the outside wall of that mitochondria actually gets inflamed. And then that creates an inability of nutrients to get in and out. And so when you have Hashimoto's, as most of you know, it's a highly inflammatory disease in its most aggressive state. Okay, not all of you are in that inflamed state. But there are other things that will cause even those who are not in that inflamed state to have that. One of them will be lack of oxygen. Okay, so if you have, for example, if you have sleep apnea, okay, if you have sleep apnea and you're not getting enough oxygen into the cells, then the cell becomes damaged, the cell becomes, the immune response to the cell becomes damaged, you get the inflammation, the mitochondria doesn't work. And so in the end, if I went through all of the things that caused, that added up to cause your cell to not be able to respond when you want it to, when you want to use all that energy, I would be here for quite some time because there's like 39 different things. And those of you who watch this a lot, I do use the term 39 a lot because there are 39 different things, okay, that we know of. Maybe next year it'll be 42. I don't know, but right now we know of 39. So underlying all that is usually inflammation. And I think the point that I wanted to make here was the two biggest underlying deficits that cause that is lack of oxygen, and despite the fact that there's 38 other different ones, and glutathione, lack of glutathione. Now, a lot of people no glutathione. They look it up and they go, oh, glutathione, it's supposed to do this, it's supposed to do that. And it's pretty awesome stuff for certain things. And so glutathione is known, I believe I'm correct on this, it's known as the most powerful antioxidant that science is aware of at this current date and time. And where does glutathione come from? It comes from us. It's made in our cells. It's supposed to be made in every cell. See the connection? Every cell needs it. Okay. It's also massively made in the liver. It's responsible for a lot of the detoxification in the liver that you're familiar with. Like glutathione is what stops you from having chemical sensitivities. For those of you who have it, you don't have enough glutathione. Okay, because glutathione, for example, let's say you walk by a perfume counter at Macy's and the next thing you know, you go, oh, I don't feel so good. Or you're walking by, some laundry, some commercial laundry place and that smell comes out with all the chemicals and you're like, man, I gotta walk on the other side of the street. Those are chemicals, okay? Those are little particles. They travel through the air, they go in through your lungs, they go into your nostrils and your lungs. And the glutathione in your system is literally, here's what it does. Here comes the chemical. And here's what the glutathione does. It grabs it, and you're not gonna be able to see me do this, but it literally kills it. I'm like slamming it against my desk, like that's what glutathione does. It's this massive antioxidant. Antioxidants work. The ones that are good, they work, but they're expensive. They're hard to produce. They're hard to replicate. So because of the production process, they're expensive. Like the ones I use are expensive. so I use them, and I use them a lot, but they work. And here's the thing, you cannot have autoimmunity. I believe I'm correct on this, okay? So if one of my mentors is watching this and you see that I'm not correct, call me and tell me, okay? But I don't think you can get, it's my understanding that you cannot chemically get autoimmunity if you have enough glutathione. Because glutathione works with something else in your system to dampen immune responses as well as create that energy by killing any of those oxidative inflammatory stresses before they become a problem. And whether, I don't know whether it's the chicken or the egg, does autoimmunity deplete your glutathione, or have you already depleted your glutathione and you get autoimmunity? The suggestion is you've already depleted your glutathione, but I don't see why it wouldn't go both ways. But the bottom line is this: if you have autoimmunity, you're going to have low glutathione, and I think that's the bigger reason for this crash relative to people crashing. Now, I'm going to say don't go out there and buy a ton of glutathione and take it, and then if it doesn't prevent your crash, start throwing things at the YouTube channel here that I'm on, because it depends on how many different triggers you have that are killing your metabolic capacity to be able to have that energy, okay, and to cause you to crash. So if you have a lot of them, you take the glutathione, and it may not even feel like it's doing anything, or you may have to dose it up so much you go like, oh my God, like it's so expensive, I'm not going to do this. So I mean, there's variations on that might help if you want to, well, I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to start telling you how to dose online for all the obvious reasons. So, but those are the things. Those are the things that are causing you to crash. Basically you crash because there's too much pressure on those mitochondria from so many different areas. Now you put a demand on them. It's just not there. They're not getting the substrates. Maybe you're not absorbing your nutrients. Maybe you're not breaking them down. Maybe you're not eating them. There's so many things. But the big ones are oxygen and glutathione. The big ones are oxygen and glutathione, and then you deplete them like, okay, I'm having a good day. You go out and you just like bomb it out, and the next thing you know, you're on the floor. All your pains come back. Everything is bad. This is the reason why that happens. And that it is extremely common. In fact, it's almost a cardinal symptom for just autoimmune patients in general, and kind of a gauge of the severity of it. As you'll see as time goes on, if you're not doing anything about it, you'll get more crashes more frequently. They'll be worse. You'll be down for longer periods of time. But that's been something that's been coming up a lot lately here when I'm talking to patients. So I thought it would be some good data to put out for you. Okay, so that's it. Talk to you again.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of What is Hashimoto's? To find out more on any of our topics, or for information on scheduling a consultation with Dr. Rutherford, please visit us at whatishashimotos.com.